Hey, it's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 offlaners of 7.34. I'm really excited because one of the heroes that's on this list, well, kind of, it's an honorable mention, is a hero I'm very passionate about. It's a hero I'm very fond about. But in today's video, we're going to be covering the 5 best offlaners, the heroes you should be playing if you're trying to gain MMR, and I'm also going to be telling you what items you should generally buy and how you should be looking to play the game. So without further ado, let's get into it and talk about the pause 3 role. Also, if you guys are interested in more 7.34 content and want to get a jump on the patch, over on the gameleap website, it's currently 50% off, but over on the gameleap website, I'm going to be making a ton of content basically talking about the new builds that you can go, the new heroes you can try, and all the new strategies you can use for this new patch. So if you're interested in that, this is the time to sign up. This is currently 50% off. All you got to do is use the code SUMMER in the checkout. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. Click the link down below. And let's get back into the video. All right, so getting into honorable mentions, well, I actually only have one, is Nature's Prophet. Man, it's great to see this hero back. That's all I'm gonna say, it's great. It's great to see him back. Now you might be like, why is he back? What happened? Well, it's very simple. Sprout does a lot of damage. In fact, it does 384 damage at max level. You heard that right, 384. And go ahead, use it on a creep wave. You'll notice that Sprout's AoE, the damage, is pretty big. If the range creep is just touching the Sprout, the outside of the Sprout, it still takes the damage. And that includes heroes. Even if they're just touching the outside of the Sprout, they will still take 64 damage per second for 6 seconds. It's pretty crazy how much of a buff this is because it allows you to farm neutrals faster with Sprout. It allows you to push creep waves with just Treants and Sprout. You can kill heroes much easier with Sprout. It all adds up to Nature's Prophet being a much better hero. On top of that, the W is buffed in a recent patch. Treants were buffed in a recent patch. The ulti was buffed in 7.33. Like, this hero has been buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed to the point where maybe it's good. Is it still one of the hardest heroes in Dota? Absolutely. However, I say that, but for the first time in forever, Nature's Prophet is a above 50% win rate hero on Dota buff. It is the most buffed hero of the patch. Since the patch, it has gone up by 7.82% win rate. That is the most of any hero. That's more than Witch Doctor, a hero that was giga buffed, incredibly buffed. Prophet's win rate has increased more. That's incredible. Like, from 43% to 51. Unbelievable. A 7.82% increase. And it's just from Sprout doing damage. It's just so much though. It's so much damn damage. So what is the build on Prophet? 4 branches, Tango's Blightstone. From there, you're going to pick up a wand if it's a wand lane. If it's not, just rush Treads. After Treads, go Maelstrom. After Maelstrom, in most games, you have to go BKB. If it's not a good BKB game, you can actually go straight Mjolnir into Hurricane Pike. I'm a big fan of this build. You also can go Gleipnir into AC because the Gleipnir gives HP and the AC gives attack speed, which is good with the Maelstrom. Then from there, it's typically a variation of like Silver Edge and just whatever right-click item is good for the game. It could be Mjolnir Satanic, it could be Silver Edge Nullifier, it could be really anything. And so that's kind of the hard part of the hero. You just got to know the matchups, and I unfortunately can't cover that in a top offlaners video. That's gonna have to be another separate video, which I will make, so subscribe to the channel. All right, getting to the 5th best offlaner of the patch, and honestly, I would argue the best offlaner of the patch if you are a high MMR. So what is the hero? It's Darkseer. Darkseer was the best hero last patch. I would argue the best offlaner of last patch. He was the best aura buyer, doesn't get countered by a lot of heroes. It's just a very resilient hero. It's an incredibly resilient hero. Are you having a bad game? Put Shell on the creep wave and push it out and get creeps. And then go kill Ancients. Unironically, you can stack Ancients, and if you have Vanguard, which you generally should buy, you can shell one of the small Ancients, shell yourself, and you can kill Ancient. You can farm so damn fast on this hero, and then just buy Crimson Greaves Pipe and group up with your team. It's kind of that simple. Cast Vacuum, hit a big vacuum, it's pretty easy to do. Shell your melee heroes and you're golden, right? In the mid to late game, just shell creep waves to get farm and push out creep waves, give your team map control. It's just a very well-rounded hero, and I expect it to continue to be popular in not only the pro scene, but definitely still in pubs. And so what is the item build? Well, in terms of starting items, there's some different builds. Wand 3 branches, which is the one I recommend, so let's start there. Tangos, then into Ring of Health and Vanguard, then into Mana Boots. After Mana Boots, Soul Ring, so you can spam your Ion Shell and your abilities and never run out of mana. And from there, it just depends what the enemy team does. A lot of physical, Crimson, a mix, mech, magical, pipe, and go from there. All right, getting into the 4th most broken hero for the offlane is Brewmaster. Brewmaster increased in win rate by about 4%. It's now sitting at around a 53% win rate. And so what do they change about this hero? Well, a couple things. Number one, Brewmaster is a universal hero. And funny enough, the item build on Brewmaster last patch was Spirit Vessel. Spirit Vessel, now instead of being built from Vitality Boosters, is built from 2 crowns. This means that Brewmaster, a hero that actually right-clicks, gets like 25 damage from Spirit Vessel. That's pretty huge, right? It's nothing crazy, but 25 damage is 25 damage. And what's important to note as well is that 25 damage was also buffed because of the fact that Brewmaster, his fire stance, right, his fire bruling form, now gives 25 attack speed at max level, right? And so now you have attack speed to use that attack damage. And also that attack speed makes the fire stance crit. And that's what it does, right? The fire stance used to only give crit, now it gives attack speed, and that attack speed makes you crit more. This change was massive. And so really, I think the change to Vessel and the change to the fire stance is really just enough to put this hero at a top level hero. Already universal hero, and oh, I forgot, it got 1 base armor. And that is a big deal, right? The hero's problem for a long time has actually been its armor. But now with Wand 3 branches, you literally get a full point of armor from your starting items and base armor. All you gotta do is go Vessel, and you can straight up rush it. Like people, because the hero is pretty fast at 310 movement speed, and you can go, I think it's called the wind form, it's the blue one. The blue one gives you movement speed. So if you're getting gone on or you need movement speed, just go, just Cinder Brew yourself, which triples the bonuses of all your panda bonuses, and go wind form, and you get evasion and movement speed. And so it's like really easy to just get on top of people and kite out if you need to. You just switch forms. So people don't go boots, they just straight up rush Vessel. You get so tanky, you hit hard, right? You have crowns, etc. Then from there, honestly, I've seen so many different builds. I've seen Midas into Radiance. I've seen Midas into Assault Cuirass because the Primal Split literally takes towers. I've seen Shard Rush because it buffs up the ulti, makes it last 12 seconds longer. This hero's nuts. If you get good at it, it's nuts. I really believe that Brew has the potential to be like one of the best heroes in Dota right now if you just kind of understand it. So I'm certainly going to be learning it. Getting into the third hero, a hero I kind of hate. I'm not going to lie. I love playing it, but I also hate it. Slardar. Well, why? It does 40 extra damage in water now. Straight up. When you stun the ground, it makes a puddle, Slithering Crush. Now for 7 seconds. It used to be 3, 4, 5, 6 when you leveled up the stun. You wouldn't want to level the stun, so it would typically be 3 seconds of water. Now it's just 7 flat. So when you're farming neutral cramps, just, I don't know, buy like a Clarity and Raindrops, maybe take a mana neutral item like a Cold Bracelet, stun the ground, and you farm for 40 more damage. Why? Because Valve decided that Bash of the Deep gives 10, 20, 30, 40 damage depending on the level, which if you ult someone, they leak water, and if you stun, you get 7 seconds of water. So most of the time, you can be in water. You just do 40 more damage. I don't know what to say. The stun heals you as well, because when you're in water, like, I don't think what people understand as well is that when you're playing Slaughter, because of Guardian Sprint, if you're in the river, you get 8 bonus regen and 4 bonus armor for having max Guardian Sprint and being in water. You also get 18% more movement speed if you're in water. So you just have like max MS if you stun, and you have max MS if you ulti someone. You get 8 regen if you ulti someone. You get 4 armor if you ulti someone. This hero just mans up so much better now. Like, it just... Oh, they also buffed the cast point of the stun. I forgot. This hero just got like buff. It got buffed last patch. It's just been buffed so much. So yeah, don't pick it into Medusa because amp damage doesn't do anything against Medusa. But yeah, what's the build? There's, honestly, I think there's some different builds, but the one that I've seen that I've liked the most is just Bracer components, starting items like 2 branches, Bracer components, Tango's Quelling and a Bracer. After that, you go Treads, then Midas, a Blink Dagger into Ags. Why Ags? Well, the Ags makes a huge puddle, which is good because it gives you that 40 bonus damage constantly. It gives you healing constantly. And then the Ags also just gives you status resistance, which is 40%, 15 armor, and 30 regen. It's so much. Kind of just allows you to be a frontliner, go in and be a nuisance. And the reason why I think that's better than the right-click builds is I think the right-click builds get kind of kited and you get chipped out of the fight. This stun build and the Ags build means that you have so much sustain where you can kind of just keep going in and out and in and out. You're not going to one-shot anyone, but you're going to be really sustainable and able to be an initiator rather than another carry, which I think can backfire sometimes. Getting into the second highest win rate hero in Dota is Sand King. Sand King got buffed really hard. Now, when you're in Sandstorm, you can move it. You heard that right? If you're in Sandstorm, you can move the Sandstorm. And this is massive because it just allows you to click the ability in one place and then be like, oh, the carry's moving back to his tower. Well, I can move the Sandstorm in his direction and grief him. It's also really important in team fights, right? Because when you Sandstorm, you kind of want to stay in it and keep it on top of people. Now you can do that. right? It's not super fast, but it's very, very, very noticeable. Like, very noticeable. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference for farming, for fighting, honestly, just for everything. And then on top of that, one thing as well is the Ags. They buff the Ags on Sand King, and I think this is a main selling point of the hero, because now the Aghanim Scepter is based upon your Sandstorm Radius. You have a Sandstorm Radius at level 15, but let me explain what the Ags does. It shoots out mini burrow strikes in Sandstorm, like everywhere constantly. And they stun for the full duration of Burrow Strike, which if you take the level 10 talent is 2.2 seconds. It's just like stun, 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 and they do damage too. It's just like stun, 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 stun. You can stun someone like if you get lucky. It is somewhat of a luck thing because it is truly random. If you get lucky, you just stun. It's crazy. You should see it. If you haven't played it, it's pretty nuts. But yeah, I mean, I think the downside of this hero is its laning stage, but honestly, in your average pub, you won't get punished that hard. Then you just get to the mid game and you have pretty normal items. Generally just go Vanguard, right? So like, because it's a universal hero, Wand, 3 branches, Tangos, Salve, Ring of Health, Vanguard, Boots. If you need mana, you can go Soul Ring or Mana Boots, either are fine. And then from there, Blink Dagger, Aghanim Scepter. You can go Auras as well, or like Boots of Travel. Some people like going Boots of Travel, so you can push out waves a lot and then connect to fights. That's fine too. There's also a Veil build that I kind of like. It amps up all the magic damage that you do, which is decent. But yeah, just get your Ags at like minute 25 or so, and yeah, you'll just carry the team fights by clicking Sandstorm and moving towards the enemy. And finally, the last hero on the list, I'm actually making a separate video. It might have already came out too. Basically, I think Witch Doctor Offlane is just incredible. I really do. It's the highest win rate hero. It's unbelievable. When I was making the video, I thought it was the 3rd highest, but the win rate has continued to increase in Witch Doctor's favor. It is now the highest winner hero in Dota. That's incredible. Witch Doctor is the highest winner hero. Why is it a good offlaner? Death Ward is pure. It scales incredible. If you hit someone, when you're level 12, if you hit someone with 10 ticks of Death Ward, it does 1100 damage. 1100. At max level, the Death Ward does 160 damage. Hit someone 10 times, which isn't that much. It does 1600 damage. Death Ward's incredible. Combine that with the Maledict talent at level 25, which makes Maledict do 65% per tick of the HP they've lost. You can kill someone by hitting them with Death Ward like 7 times. If you Maledict someone and hit them with Death Ward just a few times in the late game, now that it's pure, they just die. Like, they straight up die. So this scales incredibly well. Now, how do you play Witch Doctor offlane? Because I'm making a video on it, I'm not going to cover it that much in this top 5, because you should just go watch that video if you're truly curious. There's a lot of nuance to the hero. The video I made was with an IO, which is really OP. But yeah, if you're playing it alone, here's the key. You want to go Wand, 3 branches as your starting items. From there, you want to buy Mana Boots as fast as possible. After Mana Boots, Soul Ring. This hero is incredibly mana intensive as a core, and you have to keep that in mind. You have to drop the Mana Boots and pop Soul Ring constantly. You need a mana neutral item, you need raindrops, you need clarities, you need all of this. But if you do this, you just have your heal. You max your heal, then you max your stun. What's so broken about Witch Doctor Core is you drag neutral camps together and you kill them with your heal. Then you nuke the creep wave with your stun. If you have maxed out stun, it one-shots creep waves, just about. The stun is such a good farming tool. It's a 14-second cooldown and it farms up an entire creep wave. It's wonderful. And yeah, you just eventually buy Holy Locket, then you buy your shard. You just do so much damage. Your stun also has been buffed. If you didn't know, the delay between bounces went from 0.3 to 0.1. It is incredibly noticeable, right? The ability to chain stun, or at least keep people in stun, is magnitudes better now. It's not even remotely close to what it was. Like, this buff, I kind of overlooked it at first, but it is huge. It is huge. And so yeah, you just kind of buy aura items. I really like Spear Vessel. I think that's the build I'm going to start trying out. Holy Locket and the Spear Vessel. The Spear Vessel, you just kind of build crowns, you get tanky. It just feels really, really good. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there was a hero, an offlane hero you've been playing that you want to recommend to everyone, do it in the comment section down below. I'm sure everyone would be happy to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll see you in the next one.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.